the city sleeps. But for millions of Americans, the night offers no real rest. In the quiet corners of our sprawling cities, tucked away in parking lots, on a friend's couch, or in a crowded spare room, a silent crisis is unfolding. This isn't the homelessness we think we know. This is about the people we never see, the shadow population of an America that has run out of affordable homes. The sun hasn't even begun to hint at the horizon. Inside a fogged-up sedan, a mother named Sarah is already awake. She moves with a practiced silence, careful not to wake her two kids sleeping in the back. One is curled in a car seat, the other nestled in a makeshift fortress of blankets. You try to tell the kids it's an adventure, but every morning you wake up with the same thought: this isn't an adventure, this is our life. Sarah, her 8-year-old Maya, and 5-year-old Leo are part of a rapidly growing segment of the homeless population: families. Just 6 months ago, they had a 2-bedroom apartment. Sarah worked full-time at a local diner, a job she'd held for 5 years. But when their building was sold, the new owner raised the rent by $400 a month. It was an impossible sum. After burning through her savings on motels, her last resort was the family car. Their days are a carefully choreographed routine of survival. They wake before sunrise to avoid drawing attention. They use public restrooms in a nearby park to brush their teeth. Maya does her homework on a clipboard in the passenger seat after school. Sarah's biggest fear isn't the cold or where to park each night. It's the psychological toll, the feeling of being invisible. They are hiding in plain sight, a shadow family in a city that's bustling with life all around them. They exist in a state of constant grinding anxiety, where a dead battery or a knock from a police officer could shatter what little stability they have. This is what hidden homelessness really looks like. It's not always a tent on a sidewalk. More often, it's a family in a car. It's a friend sleeping on your couch for a few weeks that has turned into months. It's a crisis of invisibility, and its scale is staggering. So, just how many families are living like Sarah's? The official numbers are deeply misleading. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HHUD, conducts an annual point-in-time count, which mostly just tallies people in shelters or visibly on the streets. In January 2024, that count found about 771,580 people experiencing homelessness. But this number misses the vast, hidden population. The Department of Education uses a much broader, more realistic definition. It includes children and youth who are doubled up, sharing someone else's home because of economic hardship, or living in motels and cars. Under this definition, the number skyrockets. In the 2022-2023 school year, public schools identified nearly 1.4 million students experiencing homelessness. Think about that for a second. 1.4 million kids. That's more than the entire population of Dallas, Texas. These are the residents of the shadow cities. They aren't counted by HUD because a couch or a car is technically a roof, no matter how unstable. These hidden homeless are often families with children, disproportionately people of color, pushed to the absolute edge by a system that has failed them. While cities like New York may have extensive shelter systems and Los Angeles has visible encampments, this invisible crisis is everywhere. It's natural to ask, how did it get this bad? The answer isn't a story of individual failings. It's a story of systemic collapse. Overwhelming research confirms the primary driver is the catastrophic lack of affordable housing. For decades, housing costs have spiraled upward while wages have mostly flatlined. According to a U.S. Government Accountability Office study, a mere $100 increase in median rent is associated with a 9% rise in homelessness. Since 2001, median rents have surged 23% after adjusting for inflation, while renters' incomes have only inched up by 5%. The math just doesn't work anymore. For someone relying on disability benefits, the situation is even more dire. In a city like Seattle, the fair market rent for a small efficiency apartment is estimated at $2,238 per month for 2025. The maximum federal disability benefit, SSI, is just $967 a month. That gap isn't a statistic. It's a chasm that swallows families whole. The end of pandemic-era protections like eviction moratoriums and the expanded child tax credit, was like throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. Millions of households that were barely hanging on were suddenly pushed over the edge. And contrary to common stereotypes, research shows that things like mental illness or substance use are not what primarily explain why some regions have higher rates of homelessness than others. The one variable that explains it better than any other is the cost of housing. This crisis isn't caused by a spike in personal problems. It's caused by a housing market that has become fundamentally detached from the economic reality of millions of Americans. For the nearly 1.4 million students identified as homeless, the consequences are devastating. How can a child possibly focus on algebra when they don't know where they'll sleep that night? How can they feel secure when their entire world can be packed into a suitcase in minutes? This instability ripples outward. The families who take in doubled-up friends or relatives are often on the economic brink themselves. This precarious generosity strains relationships, overcrowds small living spaces, and puts both families at greater risk of eviction. Then there's the crushing psychological weight, the constant shame and fear, the loss of community, privacy, and dignity. People living in their vehicles are often forced to move constantly to avoid tickets or having their only shelter impounded. In hundreds of cities across the U.S., just sleeping in your car is a criminal offense. Instead of getting help, families like Sarah's are met with policies that punish them for the crime of being poor in a rich nation. Living this way is not a choice. It is the last available option when all others have run out. It's a life lived in the margins, in a state of perpetual uncertainty, just waiting for the next shoe to drop. There's a way out of this crisis, but it demands a fundamental shift in how we see the problem and how we create policy. The current approach, which focuses heavily on emergency shelters, misses the vast majority of the problem, the hidden homeless. The solution isn't complicated, it's housing. A large body of research supports an approach called housing first, which prioritizes getting people into permanent, safe housing without preconditions. It turns out that once the foundational need for a home is met, people are far better able to tackle other challenges, like finding a job or managing their health. We know this works. Targeted investments in housing and support services have led to major reductions in veteran homelessness, proving that when the will is there, progress is possible. But to get there, we first have to make the invisible visible. We must demand that our leaders and institutions use a definition of homelessness that includes everyone who lacks a stable home. We need policies that prevent people from losing their homes in the first place, with robust rental assistance and aggressive funding to build deeply affordable housing. Right now, the U.S. has a shortage of over 7 million affordable rental homes for the lowest income households. This isn't a problem without a solution. It's a problem we've largely chosen to ignore. And the first step to solving any problem is to truly see it. Share this. Start a conversation with your friends, your family, and your elected officials. Look up the organizations in your community fighting for housing justice and preventing family homelessness. Support their work, because a home isn't a luxury. It's the bedrock of a stable life, the foundation of a healthy community, and a basic human right. As night falls, Sarah pulls into the familiar, well-lit corner of a 24-hour supermarket parking lot. She reads a book to Maya and Leo with a small flashlight, their faces glowing in the cramped space. They're surrounded by the lights of the city, millions of lights and millions of windows, each one a home. She tucks her children in and whispers that she loves them. She'll stay up for a few more hours, watching over them, her mind racing. We see all these lights, all these homes, she thinks, looking out at the city. We're just waiting for one of them to be ours. We're still here. We haven't given up hope. Her story, and millions like it, are unfolding tonight in the shadow cities of America. The question is no longer whether we can see them, but whether we will choose to act.